Boots and Beards walking group. Yeah, if you could tell us a wee bit about what Boots and Beards is and why you started it in the first place.
Well, Boots and Beards was never meant to get started. We had no intention, we had no plans, we had no vision for it, and I think it just came out of a chance. Cash, who's at the top of the walk here at the front, him, myself, Zen, he's my cousin, Zen's my nephew, and we've all got quite a fairly big family, typical Asian family. And I think growing up, coming from a family kind of structure where the cousins and the uncles get together every so often, I think that's been lost over the years, with people moving away, with getting too busy with their work, kids getting more involved with computer games. And I said, and it was only through an episode with Cash, he had a bit of a medical traumatic episode, and it was all kind of touch and go for him. And after that, I don't know, one day I said, you know what, life is too short, and we don't see each other very often compared to how we were brought up. And your kids are getting big, my kids are fairly young. Let's see each other very often. Let's get that traditional back in our family. And he goes, what did you have in mind? Otherwise it was just wedding, Christmas or birthdays. And he goes, what did you have in mind? I goes, well, why don't we just go for a hill walk? I don't know, to this day I'm thinking, why did hill walk even come into my head? Never done hill walking before in my life. As a family, my family is actually from Fort William, so I don't know whether there's a bit of Ben Nevis going through my my veins, but I picked hill walking, maybe because I must have maybe seen a documentary the night before. It was still in my head. Yeah. And the good thing about it was free, so if we're going to make it into a regular thing, it's got to be cost effective. So he goes, let's go hill walking. So we dragged all the kids, gave the mums a break on a Sunday, got all the dads together. It was turned to a bit of a family kind of get together. And as we were doing it, one Sunday, then a fortnight, another Sunday, Cash was sharing it on the pictures on social media, and it was only until his friends and my friends and other people's friends were contacting us saying, listen, could we come along next time? We want to be part of the group as well. And at that time we kind of ignored all the requests. The guys, come to the left. Morning.
Morning. How you doing?
Morning. So at that time, we kind of ignored all the requests and thought, no, keep us as a family. There's enough of us as it is. It's about 20 odd kids and about 10 uncles. Let's keep it as it is. Why do you want to bring in more people to the group? But as more and more people were getting contact, we actually thought, you know what, maybe we've stumbled into a niche market here where there actually is a need in the community. And then we thought hard and say, well, do we have time for a hill walking group? What does it mean? How much time is it going to take of us? And so we took the bold decision and it became a hill walking group in 2015, and we then became a charity in 2016, and that was it. So we had no plans. Boots and Beards just came out organically. It was just like, and ever since then, it's grown its own arms and feet, and we're doing other things apart from hill walking, but we're doing other health-related activities because hill walking is not for everyone. But what we realised was poor health is a huge problem in the Asian community, and we don't do enough to address it. So for those who don't like hill walking, who don't like getting up on a Sunday morning, we need to try and arrange other activities for them. So we do like kind of badminton classes and boot camp or spin classes. So we try different things over the years.
Brilliant.
So that was that.
And you say you've got other kind of, it's grown arms and legs, there's other projects. What other kind of things are you doing now? Is it all based on being outdoors?
We became the first BME group to have the DOV licence. So now we are doing Duke of Edinburgh for all the BME kids that would never take on Duke of Edinburgh. So we now kind of bridge that gap, work closely with them, and plus because of the whole outdoor connection with it, I was totally bought on with all that. So we do the Duke of Edinburgh, as well as that we do like kind of navigation courses. We do like kind of first like map reading courses just to get people a bit more comfortable with how to read a map, something as basic as that, which I didn't even know. And I'm in my 40s, I didn't know how to read a compass, but now I know how to do that as well. But again, just kind of sharing that knowledge with other participants, members of the group, because the more people that know about map and compasses, then they can teach their kids. Why do they have to wait till they're 40 to learn how to read a map?
Yeah.
So getting my kids out, sort of thing. And the most important thing was to get kids out at a younger age involved with the outdoors and not wait till they go through midlife crisis. So, which I probably was and am. So that's that.
Why do you think it is so important that we protect our land and, you know, make it better for the future generations?
I think it's important to protect our land. You know what? Because it's just got that invisible connection with the land. It's like when I come out here and as I look around, I actually find peace. And you know what? It'll be a shame if this was to get ruined in any way. And if I feel peace, there's hundreds and thousands of other people in the cities who have never ventured out, and for them to experience this, you've got to protect this. So I think it's important for the next generation to carry on and looking at Scotland, and hopefully it stays this way and not get ruined by climate change, not get ruined by people misusing it, and that whether it be companies, whether it be individuals. I think it's important to be left as it is, and that's the way nature is always intended to be. Nature is left when it's left at its own best. So I'm happy to kind of respect that and protect that.
Tell me about your campaign, Outdoors Against Racism.
2 or 3 months ago there was an incident which happened up in Ben Nevis, where there was a group which apparently had links to far right, unravelled a big banner saying White Lives Matter at the top of Ben Nevis. And I didn't know about that happened until there was a journalist from The Guardian. Somehow she found our phone number or email address, she got in contact with us and asked us for our opinion, or what's your statement on that banner. So when I got there in the morning, I'm thinking, what banner? And it was only until I googled it, I thought, oh, okay. So very quickly I thought, well, that's a bit of a silly stunt, because and I know Ben Nevis, having done it just about a month prior to that for the first time, I noticed there was like hundreds and hundreds of people from foreign nationalities there. So I'm thinking, for them to unravel that banner at the top of that, what does that tell you about Scotland? It totally sends the wrong message out. And I'm thinking, Fort William, the amount of tourists that come there from all over the world, the economy, Fort William depends upon tourism, and as for finance, to keep the economy going.
How do we get people interested, you know, in these issues? You're talking about land issues, and I'm guessing particularly more people from diverse backgrounds, from, you know, BME backgrounds. How do we get them thinking about it and actively involved? I think there needs to be an invite to. I think, you know what, you can be very clever about it. You can have role models from the community bring up this topic, as opposed to having somebody from an organisation which is predominantly white come and ask that question. So I could ask the same question that you're asking, but I'll probably get more of a positive response, and that might be a better strategy. So I think, to answer that question, you need more role models, more people in the community to kind of fly the flag and ask that question to get the right answers. That might be one solution to doing that. The other thing is maybe working with community groups, and just inviting community groups out to the outdoors and show them what land you're talking about and what it looks like just now, and just show them this is what we're looking to do. Maybe have more kind of focus groups, but you need to invite them out, get them out of the city first of all, to get them to see it, feel it, smell it, and then get that conversation going. You can't have that conversation over a Zoom talk or, you know, by filling a questionnaire. You need to get them out in the surroundings to get that engagement from them and to get their feedback.
to this day, in my 40 years, nobody's ever asked me about what do you think about Scotland and how do you think the Scottish land could be used better, because nobody's ever bothered to ask me. It's like I'm seen as a second class citizen, but even though I was born and bred in Scotland, so it's interesting the fact to be kind of included at that roundtable discussion at some point, and just to see what your thoughts are. Feel more kind of included.
In the last 5 years, you've seen more in Scotland than the first 39 years. Why didn't you get out more, or why didn't you see more?
So good, I'm glad you asked that question, because my dad, when first generation parents came over, do you know what? I don't think that they had plans to kind of stay here for a long time. I think it was a case just to work, settle for maybe 5-10 years and go back home. But what ended up happening was they came over, they settled, they got comfortable, they bought businesses, and then do you know what? They just settled and got married and had kids, and they never thought about ever moving back. That's what's happened. But what happened with first generation parents was that, as my dad was, it was always pedal to the floor. We never ever got a chance. I mean, I never got that chance to build that bond with my dad, because he was always working, and it was tough. At that time, there was a lot of racism, you know what I mean, a lot of discrimination, so you had to make ends meet. Not to say there's any less discrimination now, but my dad basically was always out, so I never got a chance to explore the outdoors. He never took us out, maybe the local park, but anything out of Glasgow was new to me. So, and that's one thing that I would say was one reason why we set up Boots and Beers. The other reason was I always said to myself, if I ever had kids, I would never raise them like my dad. I always wanted to build a bond with my kids in a different way than my dad had a bond with me, and I always wanted to do it in an outdoor environment. So that's the story. So that's one reason why the BME community has, for the past 40 years, have been hibernating, and now they've come out, and it's like they've found a brand new world, which has always been there. But all it took was one person, myself or Cash, and then to kind of go out and say, "Aye, we're over here, we're still alive, come on out." That's all it took. Share some pictures. But the other thing is that the other reason why you get a lot more people out, and I think faith plays a huge part in this. I mean, I am Muslim. I follow the Islamic faith. Most of the participants here, 95% of them, are from the Islamic faith. And in the faith, it talks heavily about respecting the environment, protecting the environment, and what our duty as Muslims got to be is to do that. And the other thing is, when you go out, people are actually connecting more with nature, maybe finding God in nature sort of thing, and just being away from all the hustle bustle and having that kind of me time, that kind of call it a meditation time sort of thing. So that's why you're getting a lot more people out taking an interest in the outdoors now.
Are you hoping that through Boots and Beards, some of these, maybe your kids or some of the other people coming along will become the role models and, become other voices and, basically encourage more people to do what you're doing as well?
Yeah, I'm basically trying to, 5 years ago, to have walking sticks, dirty hill walking boots was never a thing you would see in my house. And now it's like, you see it lying around and it's okay. My house is like outdoor friendly sort of thing, and so having mucky boots is not a big sin in my house. So things have changed, and I would like my kids to, and again, they won't understand why they're doing this now. They will probably in about 10-15 years time when they have their own kids, because they've got this kind of outdoor kind of put into their bloodstream at a younger age. Hopefully that will continue.
Do you think your interest in the land and thinking about how it's used, has that come from these walks and come from getting out and seeing different places?
What I've realised is, do you know what, I'm 44. I've seen more of Scotland in the past 5 years than I have in my whole lifetime, and that's me being born and bred in Glasgow. There's a totally new world which has come alive, and now what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to basically claw back that time, thinking, where have I been for the past 40 years? It's like I've been living in some sort of cave, and to know that there's another world out here So I'm now I want to do lots of things in the short space of time that I've got. But the most important thing is I now want to do these things with my boys, and try and create memories for them in the outdoors. So that's what my aim is. And I've got 3 of the boys with me this morning. The 4th one got away with it. So 3 of them are with me, and hopefully it'll all make sense to them in about 10 years' time.
Yeah.
Why they were dragged out on a Sunday morning.
So Nav, you live in Glasgow. Recently we've seen COP26 take place in Glasgow. What do you think the long-term effects of that kind of thing will be on Scotland?
I think COP26 definitely put Glasgow on the map. People call it Glasgow. So, but I think it's definitely put it on the map, wherever way you pronounce it. I think Scotland was the right place to host COP26 because the whole environment, I think the whole kind of landscape or the whole kind of surrounding was perfect for it. Whether the delegates even got a chance to explore Scotland, that's another story. But I think that, you know what, it's important that we all take heed and kind of get ready to do our bit for the world. Whatever decisions we make in developed countries, and UK is a developed country, we need to stop having the ripples are felt in less developing countries. So our waste or our decision making on waste pollution, it's the third world countries that basically get the brunt of it, and that's the bit we oversee. It might not be in our doorstep, but it's someone else's doorstep, and we need to stop doing that. And we need to start educating our kids on how to be sensible in purchasing, and what you purchase and where you purchase it from, and do you really need it? How much of it do you need? Actually, do you use it? And try and recycle as much as possible. Try and get away from this capitalistic kind of mass materialistic ideology that we must have. It's all about me. I think that's the culture we've been raised up from, and I think we just need to kind of think about the consequences that's now happening. So I'll ask you a question.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me ask you a question.
That'd be good.
Right. Give me your name and what is it that you do?
Hi, my name's Almas Yunus, and I'm a high school teacher. Teach maths during the week and enjoy coming out for these walks here.
Almas, you're a teacher. You obviously do a fair bit of hill walking in your spare time, or whenever you get a chance. I know you're a busy mum as well, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. That comes without saying.
I mean, how important is it to kind of be out in the open sort of thing, just enjoying the hill walk, the outdoor activity? How important do you think it is?
I think it's really important because we don't see much of it now. You know, the kids are cooped up in the house with all their consoles, and they don't get out much, and especially during this whole pandemic. It's really good for the family to get out and meet other families, and the bonding is really good. Yeah.
Socialising. Is this hill walking something that you've done recently, or you've been doing it as a part of, have you been brought up doing hill walking or some sort of outdoor stuff?
We weren't brought up doing it, but whenever I had gone out, I had loved just being around nature, being connected to nature, because again, with the city life and the whole busy life, we are very disconnected from nature, and Scotland's so beautiful that it's nice to come out and see it. And we were just talking about how there's so many films that have been made in Scotland and we didn't even know. Yet we live here, we just take it for granted. People come from all over the world to do shooting, you know, famous stars, and we live here, so it's great to be out. But the more I come out, the more I'm learning, and this has been nice as well, because it's nice to see that it's not just, oh, this is a beautiful hill or something, it's that it's actually got a name, and this loch is this loch, and then the nature, and just learning about even the different types of trees and why, you know, the leaves are on this tree and not on this one. It has become interesting, yes.
Do you think that we as a community, we take an interest in Scotland and learning about Scotland? I mean, I'm born and bred, but do you think we do enough to teach our kids about Scotland, its geography, how it's made up, the different cultures. As parents, do you think we do enough of that?
I think there's room for improvement. I think times are changing. We are getting there. I think Boots and Beards have done a great job in getting that ball rolling and encouraging. So you're right in terms of the barriers. There was maybe barriers, or maybe just not someone to encourage. Let's get up and go and let's do this. Let's learn about Scotland. Let's look at Scotland and see how beautiful
How
it is.
important do you think it is? Because obviously, I don't see myself moving to another country. I'll probably die in this place at some point, right? But kids, I don't see your kids moving because they're born and bred in Scotland. But how important do you think it is for families, for kids to know about the makeup of Scotland?
I think it's very important because, like I said, Scotland is beautiful. It's home for me. I spent the last 3 months in Pakistan where I was born, and I've come back and I'm so happy to. This is home. For me, this is home. And being in Scotland, just as soon as we landed, it was like, wow, this is home. I'm back home. For me, Scotland is my home.
Do you come back and kiss the soil as soon as you came off the plane?
No, not that. Not that pretty trip.
Do you think we should have a say about Scotland and how land is used in Scotland, and how land is used for, and how it should be used in the next 10, 15 years?
Definitely. This is our home and our land too. I feel very Scottish, and my children are definitely Scottish. And so to be able to have a say in protecting, especially the nature, which is so beautiful here. And that's what I'm saying, people come from all over the world to shoot films and things like that. There's a reason behind that. They could go in other places. Okay, Scotland doesn't have one of the 7 wonders of the world or something, but it's got its own natural beauty, which we want to protect.
Do you feel that you have a right to even say, to have a say about Scotland? Do you think there's room for? Do you even know where to go to say your bit?
I think your point really is so true. I don't have a clue. I wouldn't know where to go, and I feel I do have the right, and I feel I should be saying things, but I wouldn't know where to start from.
Do you find that people who control the gateway to that, do you think they do enough to reach out to hear your say about Scotland and what it means to you and how you want to see it transform?
Yeah, I don't think so, because I've never even thought about it until you've mentioned it, and now that you've mentioned it, I'm thinking I wouldn't know where to start. So those people who know anything about this should be reaching out further. Yes, I don't think they're doing. They're not working hard enough.
And how do you think we can get that discussion going? What do you think one of the ways of doing that?
Well, first of all, raising awareness that, listen, Scotland is our country, and yes, we can have a say in how it's protected, and we would like to. Just raising awareness. This has been awareness for me today.
How do you feel today being out here in this place?
It's nice, it's lovely. I always enjoy it. Today the weather's great too, but even when it's raining, it's beautiful. It has its own beauty when it's raining. All the 4 seasons are gorgeous, and it's nice that Boots and Beards try to go out throughout the whole year for that reason, because the spring has its own beauty, summer has its own beauty, and autumn and winter. The trees are gorgeous in every season. So yeah, I enjoy it.
And getting more women involved as well is something. As well as Boots and Beards, there's Bonnie Boots, is that right? So that must be an important thing as well within the community.
Because there's a lot of women in the BME community who don't feel comfortable coming out when there's men and women there. They're happy just as women only events and things like that. So it's nice that Boots and Beards have recognised that and opened that door, or taken that barrier down for them, because sometimes that's the only thing that's stopping these women from coming out.
Do you think there's more role models needed?
Definitely.
Obviously you've got Nav, but...
Yeah, Nav, definitely.
I randomly got an invite from Zen, one of the admins, it's not something I've kind of done before, but my wife and kids are away in Chicago just now, so it's the perfect opportunity to go and sort of just join in and come along for a walk. So yeah.
here we are.
Have you ever ventured this far out from Glasgow? I mean, we're in Calendar today, but have you ever ventured out?
Yeah, I mean, I've been to Calendar before. We've done a wee hill walk, sort of not as much as this, but and been up to Glencoe and things like that as well, but not so much on the sort of hill walking side, just more so driving in the car.
Okay.
Just a bit of scenic route stuff.
What would you say is your understanding of the land? I mean, do you know anything about Scotland in terms of land or what it's used for? Who owns it? Have you had any knowledge? Do you think?
No, it's very, very minimal. Yeah, I mean, obviously Dave's been talking about some of the RSPB stuff. Didn't know any of it, to be honest. So very, very limited knowledge as to.
Okay. Do you think it's important to know about land in Scotland?
No, I do. I mean, obviously he's talking about how some of the stuff, what it's been used for, and it's obviously it's important to, I think, to know those things.
Do you think we, as BME community, do you feel you have a right to make decisions about land use in Scotland?
No, I mean, I probably don't know enough about it, and I think it's definitely something that we should know more about. I think as well, even just sort of as you're kind of talking about the BME community, even just general Scottish history, Scottish culture, it's not something we sort of experience as much as we should.
Okay.
So yeah.
But what about the future of Scotland? Do you think there's anything anywhere that you know of that you can say your piece about Scotland and how it should be in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
I haven't really thought about it, but I can't imagine I'd know of something that would sort of fill that platform. So it's definitely a sort of gap in my knowledge anyway. So I think as well, more, you think more of what the kid's going to grow up and do. And obviously if there are things where land's getting cut down or it's getting used for property and all this kind of stuff, so then it just can open your eyes a wee bit.
How do you think we can get that discussion with the BME community about land use or talking about land? How do you think we can do that?
I mean, I think events like this are good. Obviously it gets people out and about, a bit of exercise, a bit of social mixing, but then obviously raising awareness. Because otherwise, like I said, I wouldn't have known about it if you weren't here talking about it, or if or Dave wasn't sort of mentioning some of this stuff as to what goes on. So I know obviously it's difficult to get our community to do things, but it's starting with something like this is obviously it's a good start.
You said this is your first walk here with the Boots and Beards?
Boots and Beards,
yeah. Why have you not been out before?
So me and my wife always have kind of said, look, we need to do more of it. Scotland's so beautiful, so scenic, and I don't know if it's maybe just the time thing or it's possibly a weather thing as well. You need to sort of plan it so that you do get a nice day like today. But the way that it timed out today was just perfect, because obviously I seen the invite on Facebook, and I had a free weekend, like a completely free weekend, away from the wife and kids. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it, even though sleep is quite an important commodity when the kids are away. But I thought, you know what, it's worth getting up early, getting some fresh air, and sort of reconnecting a wee bit back to nature.
I guess so. The series, I'm making these podcasts for the Scottish Land Commission.
Okay.
And it's all about getting people to, like anyone, whoever they are, to care about the land of Scotland, how it's used, to think about it, how it's used, and to take an interest in it. And I guess that's part of what we're doing here with this walk, making people think about, literally how the land is used around them. Is it a topic that, say you're sitting at home, is it something that you think about?
I wouldn't have thought about it until today anyway. It's not something that I've heard come up even recently. It's not something that kind of gets discussed in my sort of circle anyway.
Okay, and but I guess obviously we're out here in the countryside. The silence, what you're talking about, it is actually hardly any noise apart from our feet.
Yeah.
But think about land in Scotland, there's all sorts of urban issues as well, how it's used in cities, and derelict land, and decisions made where properties are built, all sorts of things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it something, can you see yourself going ahead after experiences like it's been out here, can you see yourself thinking about it more as a topic? Is it something that you would look at land differently, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously from the sort of woodland side, that sort of doesn't get discussed about at all. But I suppose from the commercial side and sort of residential side of the amount of new builds that are getting built, all the sort of green belts that are getting sort of cut, then those kind of things do get discussed, and I think they are important to have that discussion on. It's something that's obviously, land is a sort of commodity that's running out. It's not something that you can make more of. So it's whatever we've got is it's quite special. So yeah, no, I think it definitely needs to be discussed a bit more. And probably will think about it over the next few weeks now, I'm guessing now. So
Good. That's magic. Thanks so much.
no worries, Bob.
Hi, my name's Rahila and I'm a mum to 4 boys and I'm one of the volunteers for Boots and Beards. I come out on the fortnightly walks. I feel that there's a lack of awareness of general kind of keeping fit, and I think walking is a good way to keep fit because it's not too strenuous. And I think since we've started, we've been about 5-6 years now, a lot of people have come in, sort of come out of the houses now to join us on the hill walks because they find it's much easier to get fit as a group than it is to kind of do an activity on your own. So yeah, I would say it's something that's lacking hugely in our community, but this is a good start. We've been here, God, for a long time. Parents, grandparents, but we've never kind of taken the time out to explore the area, and I think we've been out and ventured out quite far, I would say, and discovered a lot of Scotland that we would never have done before.
Do you think you're eager to learn more about Scotland?
I would definitely say so. I'd like to, but time isn't on my side. I think there's never enough time to go away and explore Scotland the way I'd like to, but I'd definitely like to go up further north and see what there is out there.
So you say time is a barrier for you. What other challenges do you think is there for somebody with a headscarf or somebody as a parent or a mum?
God.
What are the barriers holding you back from exploring Scotland more?
God. Yeah, I mean, the fact that I wear a headscarf, you know what I mean? You feel very kind of vulnerable and stick out, and in the wilderness, but just, if I was in a coffee shop up north, I'd be sticking out, people staring at me.
Why do you think that is? Is it because
There aren't many Asians, and then not only Asians, but if women dress the way I do with a headscarf on and all kind of, walking around the hills.
So how do you think we can overcome that?
I would say it would be good if people went out. I mean, if I went out as a group with other women or other people, I would feel a bit less vulnerable. And I think there'd be other people in the same shoes as me as well. So I'm not the only one thinking like this. I'm sure there's other women who want to go up, but they're afraid, of loads of things. But yeah, if you feel safer amongst more people.
Okay.
So yeah, but we've never kind of ventured out this far. Growing up, we would go for walks and things like that, and my dad would take us to the campsies, but that was about it. I think back then, pressures of time and work, you could only kind of go out for a day trip and then come back. International holidays weren't that common, but now, even with us, international holidays have not been we've not had a holiday for a couple of years at all because of COVID. So we've had to take advantage of the outdoors in Scotland, not being able to go anywhere else. It's very important that wherever people live, they learn about the surroundings and learn how to live by them in a friendly manner, in a way that preserves it for the generations to come. There's no point moving somewhere and kind of, not appreciating what they have and destroying the state of nature around them for their own kind of benefit. So even places like this, I mean, sometimes I think that we go hill walking, and if there's not a laid path, I sometimes do feel guilty thinking that, we've got 50-60 people going up a path, that's eventually going to erode. Is this sustainable? Do you know what I mean? I even question that sometimes. So the fact that we're on a path today, it's tarmac, I kind of feel, we're not causing any damage on the way. For children growing up now, and with the way things are in the world, we need to teach it from primary schools to say that in order to preserve the state of the geography of the place we live in, which is obviously Scotland, they need to learn about the do's and don'ts and things that will sustain it. Do you know the beauty of it and the general state of it?
Why don't you think you know enough about Scotland? Do you think there's a need for you to learn more about
I don't think these companies, or not companies, but the organisations that manage the woodlands open themselves up to the public, to the general public. I mean, we've only learnt about these organisations since you guys have started up your organisation, Boots and Beards. But other than that, we didn't kind of know about being, you can approach the RSPB and the John Muir Trust and all the rest of it. I find that these organisations should come out maybe to the schools, colleges, universities, or even advertise that they want volunteers or they want people just to educate the people at large. Do you know what I mean? So I would say they're not approachable. It's hard enough for even, I don't say this loud, but like a Scottish white person to get any say in it, an ordinary person, never mind someone of colour. Do you know what I mean? I think that would take a number of years. I mean, like we said about hill walking, it's considered like upper middle class kind of thing. I mean, you wouldn't see a brown face in the hills. I mean, why would they put a brown face on one of their kind of boards of representatives or anything like that? So unless they come out and advertise and say we're looking for volunteers, if they keep themselves to themselves, you're not going to get anyone from a different, diverse background.
And do you think that from the BME community we have got, hi morning, do you think we can contribute towards how Scotland can be governed, can be changed for a much more kind of better land? Do you think we have got things we can contribute as a community?
Yeah, I would say yes. I mean, if you open up the panel of, if you asked one sort of group of people from one race a certain question, you would only kind of get a limited number of answers. Whereas you add a couple of more races onto that, because of their experience of life and where they've originally come from, I'm sure they would be able to give you more options, different options from their own upbringing or their own experiences.
In Scotland, Glasgow.
Okay. What is Colourful Heritage?
So Colourful Heritage is one of the largest organisations in Scotland that gather oral video histories of the South Asian elders that came to Scotland many years ago. We're talking over 50 to 70 years. So we capture their histories and how they came to Scotland and settled down, how they survived, what kind of work they did, why they ended up staying here rather than having this, what they called was a 5-year plan, eventually to go back home, as they called it. But now, of course, they've settled and flourished here in Scotland.
So these elders, our respected elders who came to this country many moons ago, my understanding, they had no plans to settle, but they were planning to come for a short time and then move away, but they ended up settling and getting married and having kids, and this is the new place that they call home. Do you think we have, as a community, we've taken interest in Scotland and what it has to offer?
So I don't know if as a community we've done that, in the past, but I know certainly when I was growing up, my dad was a taxi driver. So we're talking a taxi driver in the 1970s. He used to have a black Hackney cab, and of course they're all bus drivers as well. But Dad was came here as a very young child, so he would take off in any direction, just put us in the car, some crisps, juice, and take off. So I've been lots of places in Scotland, but I can't remember what they're called because I was so young. He's even taken us in a caravan in days when people didn't used to do this. So I have memories of going out and seeing this beautiful landscape, but I don't think as a community we've ever embraced it. But I think part of the reason is because people were economic migrants, so they came here particularly in particular to work. It wasn't to sightsee, it wasn't for anything else, and the kind of work they did was very much 6 in the morning till practically 11 to midnight, so that they could cash in on the fact that other shops would close. So they wanted to make sure that they could still have the business and build up their customer base, so customers would come to them during the day as well. So they worked extremely hard, so there wasn't any leeway to enjoy themselves and forget going out anywhere, even to spend time with a family. All they ever did was from home to shop back again, or to wherever they worked, carry out, restaurant, buses. That was it. I think now that, you know, the second generation is, you know, to some extent more educated, and they have jobs which are 9 to 5, they're able to give more time to their children. They're able to then take them out at weekends. You know, it's completely different to when we were younger. They're able to take them out places and make them feel more involved, as though this is part of their country, so that they feel if they see nature, if they see the places that they go to and learn about it, they want to take part and look after it as well. So I think it's really important that as parents we let our children take part in, not, you know, whether it's nature or whether it's just, you know, getting involved in activities, so that they feel that they're part of the fabric of Scotland. Otherwise they won't integrate as well. So, but the one thing I would say is that need to make sure that children integrate and feel part of the society they live in, but don't lose their identity, which is a really important factor. Because very often you find that people will assimilate, and so then they lose their own faith and background. But I think to bring up confident children, you need to make sure that they understand where they're living, understand the consequences of what's happening, whether it's in politics, even if it's just the local voluntary service happening, you know, take part in it so they understand how things work. Yeah, and especially feel part of Scotland and appreciate it.
But do you think that needs to come from parents having to instill that, or do you think the wider community needs to kind of come and invite us for our kind of intake, or for our kind of like input? Mm-hmm. How's that going to work, do you think?
I think obviously to some extent it's a parent's responsibility as well, but it's really hard for parents as well, because sometimes you don't actually know where to go, or it ends up being just yourself and your family, and it can be quite difficult for children because they're not really then meeting other people. So I think when you're doing something as a community, like we've come out today, and the children can speak to other people, they see how other people interact, because that's how children learn social skills, and it's good for the parents to get out and meet other parents too. So I do think it is a responsibility on the wider community to arrange things as well. I don't think it's something you can do just on your own, certainly not.
Do you think you know enough about where we are just now and who the landowner is, why this land has been developed the way it has, why is trees growing which of a particular kind growing in a certain way and not there? Do you think you know much about the land itself and how it's maintained, or who maintains it? Do you think you have that much knowledge?
I definitely not until today when I was speaking to the other gentleman from the RSPB. Until I spoke to him, no, not really. But I think more the angle that Colourful Heritage take is what is the heritage that we have in this land. Okay. And a lot of people don't even know that. So I think when you learn that heritage that, you know, South Asians have been in Scotland, you know, like for example Perthshire, this whole area, sort of Callander, Stirling, Perthshire, that's where Maharaja Dalip Singh came, stayed in Perthshire in something like 1855, Grand Tully Estate. So I didn't know that had that kind of heritage. In fact, one of his children is buried there because he was half Scottish and half Sikh, so they've got a grave for him. He was his newborn son. And then there's a heritage of the whole soldiers that are buried up north. There's Lady Cobalt Evelyn, so she's on a really nice estate called Glencairn Estate. It's beautiful surroundings, red deer. So I think it's a great way to open up these kind of spaces for everyone to use if they feel connected. So I think using that heritage angle helps children, it helps not just children but adults to feel connected and then learn about that area. So
your angle is that basically if there's a BME connection with that land, then people will be more willing to learn more about it, get more actually involved with it, and the important what the Colourful Heritage do is great. But going forward, my first question would be, do you think it's important for us to now go forward and seek answers about how we can get involved with land use?
To be honest, I never really thought about it. You know, it's not something that's one of the sort of main priorities as a parent that you think about. So I can't say that I have thought about it, and I think I would need to know a bit more about it and what are the benefits, and you know how would our children benefit from doing that. Okay. So I would be happy enough to give time on, you know, certain aspects in the community, but I would need to know what the bigger goal is. You know, what's the bigger picture in doing that.
Do you know where to find that bigger picture? Do you know where to go to find that information?
Well, I'm a researcher, so I'd probably Google it up before I even ask somebody. So yeah, I would probably just try and look it up and figure it out and find out what to do. Or obviously the places, people like Step Up Scotland and Boats and Beers, and you know, I've got a few friends that are that work in similar kind of work, involved in doing groups and stuff in the forest. There's some people in Stirling, so I'd probably approach them, but other than that, not really.
I've never took an interest in land because we've just been out to enjoy it, and that's it. But as Scottish, born and bred, I think I would like to be more involved in the decision making of how Scotland land can be used, and that's why I think the more I'm in the outdoors, I get to meet people, I get to meet different people, I get to chat to different organisations and see, oh, this, and just so I know the makeup of how Scotland's put together, sort of thing. And then you always get the invite to say, what's your thoughts on this, and then I can bring in my feedback from the BME point of view on what we think. And I just feel as if, you know what, if I believe I'm Scottish, I need to be more proactive in understanding the land of Scotland, and what the long-term goal is, and what strategy is being played for the land for the future, because it affects my kids.
So that's it for episode 5 of the Lay of the Land podcast. Thank you so much to Naveed and all of the Boots and Beards walking group for inviting me on their hike. Make sure you check out Boots and Beards at bootsandbeards.co.uk if you would like more information about how you might get involved in the way land is owned and used in your area. Visit myland.scot for stories, news and case studies for what's happening with the land around you. Join us for the next episode soon.